Welcome back, everyone, to the Enterprise Monkey Show with your host, Head of Growth at Enterprise Monkey, Brandon Burns. That's me. And to my left is our CEO, Aamir Qutub. How are you?
I'm good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. I always say that every time, but it's important to ask, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Those of you watching on YouTube, good to see you all. And those of you listening, hello. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and iTunes. So make sure you rate and review us. We appreciate the love. All right, guys, so today's episode is a really good one. We're going to give you a quick episode and dive down into some key elements that make your app or startup a success. So Amir's actually got some points here that he's going to cover that he's championed and authored himself. So I'm excited for this, but maybe I'll just introduce our topic straight off the bat. So as you can see here, what are the key elements to a successful app? Amir, tell us all about it.
Absolutely. So I think I've said this again, like a few times in the podcast, but it's important to understand that if you've got an app idea or an app startup, you need to understand the chances of the failures before you even think about success. So there are 2 million apps on Play Store and 2.2 million apps on App Store. There are like 4.2 million apps out there, and 95% of apps are actually zombie apps. They never get installed, they never get used, they never get found on the App Store as well. So there are high chances of failure, and you need to be following a specific strategy to be actually make your app successful. So what I did, I have been doing the app development for past 9 years, I think, when like Steve Jobs came up with the whole App Store thing. And I have developed a lot of apps that have failed. And I have developed a lot of apps that have succeeded in the market as well. So I did a lot of research on understanding what makes the apps that are successful in the market stand out. So there are 4 key elements to it. The people who are watching this, they can view it on the screen. And for the people who are not watching it, I'll tell you it's attraction, retention, engagement, and virality. So the people who are listening to the podcast, Brandon, can you please repeat after me?
I can indeed. So the first point is attraction.
Yep. And then retention.
Retention.
Engagement.
Engagement.
And virality.
Virality.
Excellent. So I'll now expand upon these one by one. So attraction. Now you have spent thousands of dollars developing your application. And like after a lot of tussle with your developer back and forth and like a lot of testing and everything, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, your app is finally on App Store. And now you think, oh my God, I've got my app on the App Store. I'm going to make huge amount of money. But it doesn't happen. And you put your app on App Store and you
Why
see
not? Why not, Amir? Isn't that what happens?
Well, it doesn't happen because what you are doing is it's an ocean of the apps out there. You know, you're just throwing another app in the App Store and you are thinking that people will start downloading it and people will just go crazy over it. And like, oh my God, I want that application.
So I've seen people do that. When we build apps, I've seen that exact response. So tell me, right, how do we take care of developing some form of attraction?
Right. So to develop an attraction in the application, we need to think about 2 things. How do we actually get people to be exposed that this application actually happens?
Yes.
So it's about developing the app with inbuilt App Store optimization. So App Store optimization is the whole science which deals with making sure that your app is found on the App Store.
Yes.
You can compare it to the search engine optimization where you want your website to be found on the Google search engines. Similarly, with App Store, your aim is to get your app found on the App Store, but also think about the strategies on how you will actually push it out to the people or to the users or your first early adopters who are going to use your application. Secondly, once they found your application on App Store or through a paid ad or through Facebook or through Google or wherever they find your application, it's important to have the right elements in your app name, app description, app screenshot, app video, so that they are compelled to install it. Because Brandon, there's so many apps out there, but on an average, a person keeps around 26 applications on his phone. So which means you are competing with likes of Facebook, likes of YouTube and WhatsApp.
Okay. So a really good point there is, I'm just going to cut you off, is that most people listening may have executed a website in the past, and they may understand the concept of optimizing your site for the search engines, for SEO. So basic things like telling Google what each page is regarding, giving your site a H1 header tag, giving yourself meta tags and title tags, setting up Google Webmaster Tools, making sure your site's indexed by Google so that when people search for your business, you come up on Google. So what you're saying in essence is it's no different when it comes to the App Store. There's a process you can follow to be attractive and be found.
Yeah, but one of the biggest difference between search engine optimization and App Store optimization is that you can launch a website and then put efforts to make it more SEO friendly after launching it.
Okay.
Whereas when you are building an application, you need to think about attraction from the very beginning. You need to think about how people are going to spread it or find it on App Store.
Yes.
And then App Store optimization needs to be built in the application.
Okay.
Social spreadiness or virality needs to be built in the application. So
Yes.
you can't just develop an app, put it on App Store and hire someone to do an App Store optimization for you.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Does that take care of the first step, attraction?
Absolutely.
Second step?
So now you have attracted people, they have installed your application, and you might think they'll start using it then and there, but doesn't happen like that. 3 out of 4 apps that are installed are actually uninstalled the same day. So there are a lot of people out there who just
Really?
install the applications, yes, and they will uninstall the application then and there.
Wow. Okay, so what you're saying is 75% of apps are uninstalled within a
same
day of being installed.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And there can be few different factors that can cause it. First is your application is not built correctly, which means it's consuming a lot of memory of the phone. It's consuming a lot of battery of the phone.
Yes.
It's crashing because there's so many phones out there nowadays, especially when you're developing for Android. You're dealing with huge amount of different devices. And if your app is crashing or not providing that seamless user experience, people might uninstall the application. But also, if you are not onboarding people effectively and efficiently
Yes.
through your application, then they are going to uninstall it as well. So it's not like, once we install a software in an organization, you provide the whole training to them and then like you train them for 1 day or 2 days. It doesn't happen that way in an app. You need to train the users while they are actually, once they have installed the application and they are opening the app on the first time. That whole science is called onboarding. So your application needs to have a very smooth onboarding when the clients are coming on board for the first time.
Perfect. All right. So that takes care of retention.
Yeah, it does.
Which is a very important part.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the next step, third step is engagement.
Yep, engagement. So most of the applications, especially the free application, they do not earn money when they are installed. For example, if you install the Uber app or Airbnb app at the moment, Airbnb or Uber will not earn any money at this point of time. They only earn money once people start using it or people start engaging with it. And your application nowadays is most likely to have followed the similar business model when you make money when people are actually engaging with the application. So you need to ensure that your application has got a smooth user experience and engagement that compels people to actually engage with your application on a regular basis, but also automations in your application where if people are not using your application, sends them push notifications and reminds them to use the application again through different push notifications or just prompting them to use the application again and again and engaging them with the content.
Could an example of engagement be something as simple as offering people the ability to sign in or sign up via Facebook?
Absolutely.
That's a common one we see, isn't it?
Yeah. That's one of the most important factors. But also, your application needs to be connected to a content management system at the back end, which allows you to push more updates to them and allows you to push news updates and content and fresh content to them as well.
Okay.
So, because some of the app developers, they would develop standard alone application that will sit in your phone, but probably might not interact with server really well. Or it might be difficult for you to send updates through your application. So once you are developing an application, you need to connect it with a content management system so that you have the ability as a startup yourself without paying to developer to actually push text updates or video updates or content updates to the application itself.
Okay, beautiful. So that takes care of engagement.
Yep, it does.
I'm interested to understand the concept of virality.
Absolutely. So, and virality actually ties into the first one, which is attraction, which means it all comes down to the virality. An application, you are spending, say, 10,000 to $10 million in developing an application and then putting it out. You only can earn money through the applications if there are masses who are using the application. And if you are just using like Google AdWords and things like that, you can't get enough money back from your application. For example, if you're earning, say, $2 per user and you are spending $5 per user in getting that user, it's not a profit, it's loss. So for any application to actually be profitable and work, there needs to be a social virality that needs to be built in.
Okay.
And again, this is something that you cannot develop after launching the application. While you are developing the application, you need to have this conversation with your app developer and the user experience team on how you will integrate the social virality with your application. Now, I'll give you some examples.
Yes, please. That's my next question.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think everyone will understand a lot better.
Yeah. So, have you, if you guys would have played Candy Crush, have you played Candy Crush, Brandon?
I haven't, to be honest.
Right.
Have you?
I haven't, but what happens is because I use Facebook and a lot of my friends play Candy Crush, I always keep on getting these irritating requests about Candy Crush. And the similar thing happened with the Mafia Wars game, and there have been few games like Age of Empires that had this social virality built straight into it through the Facebook integration.
Okay, so explain what happened with Facebook.
So what happens is that if I'm playing, say, Age of Empires or Mafia Wars or Candy Crush, if I reach to a specific level, it asks me for more coins or more like an upgrade.
Yes.
And then a user can get an upgrade either by paying for that an upgrade or probably by watching a video or sharing it on their social network or inviting their friends.
Yes.
So what will I do as a person who wants to save money, doesn't want to spend anything? I'll just let them hassle my friends. So I'll just
Correct.
press yes, and then it will actually share the app with all of my friends.
Okay.
So what the application is doing is just, how many friends would you have on Facebook?
Maybe 200.
200. So if you are playing Candy Crush and you say, okay, share it with my friends, 200 of your friends instantaneously access the application.
Yes.
Out of which, even if 10 people sort of sign up, those 10 people would spread it to their 200, and you will have sort of a multiplier effect on the application.
Yes.
This is the most effective way of getting your app and content out there.
Yes.
And even the most easiest one as well. So even Uber does it. So it provides you an option to share your Uber ride, or it provides an option to refer your friends, and
Right.
that's when you get a $10 credit or $50 credit if your friend signs up. So this whole referral and social virality is built into these applications.
Yep. Beautiful. Okay, so that's an important element. So if not already considered, discuss that with your app developer at the time, given that that's going to be a feature that's required in the build for when you execute and go live.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So, okay, well, that's really succinct. That's great. So that outlines the key elements of a successful app and the 4 things to consider to ensure yours has the best chance at becoming visible and discovered by people.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Well, Aamir Qutub, CEO of Enterprise Monkey, you've done it again. Amazing content.
Thanks, mate.
Appreciate your time, and we'll see you all in the next episode, guys. See ya.
See ya.